Hey, what's up, everyone? This is King Crypto, and today we're going to be talking about the price suppression of Bitcoin and possible manipulation through a force called cartel. Now, before we do anything, if you do like the video, please subscribe, click the bell so that you get notifications, um, and you also can win free Litecoin on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So you can also leave some comments worth reading, or if you're active, you have a better chance of winning. It's $50 of Litecoin. I'd say it's worth it to become part of this channel. So, without further ado, this is an article. I discovered this actually a little while back, and unfortunately, this was like a week or two ago. In crypto terms, that's like 2 months, so feels like a while back. But I should have posted this earlier because now all the other YouTubers are posting it, even though I saw it before. It sucks, but it doesn't matter. All that matters is that you're still getting this information, and it's a theory. It isn't. It isn't saying it's a definitive occurrence. Of course, we have to acknowledge that at all costs, no matter what kind of theories we throw out in crypto, at the end of the day, it seems like the markets kind of just do what they do. And so I just want you to understand that. All right, so the cartel is by this post by Super Crypto. He categorizes them as an elite force that has trillions of dollars of fiat currency to manipulate Bitcoin to suppress the price, therefore stopping the threat of crypto replacing fiat money. And he makes a point to say that this hasn't just happened with Bitcoin, it's also happened with gold, silver, and uranium, and I believe oil as well. So let's take a dip. I think this is a very, very important topic because if this is true, we have to acknowledge it. And I do kind of believe certain things he's saying. I'm not going to lie, it does make a lot of sense to me, especially when he talks about the negative news cycles, how they all happen at once. I noticed that many times, and it did feel almost like it was conspired together. So he actually called the Bitcoin correction 95%. Once CME opened its doors, so it actually went 70%. And he says as well, 95% could be in the long run, maybe a few more months from now. It's hard to say, but essentially, cartel was entered the crypto space in October of last year, and the dumping of Bitcoin started to begin once the futures market opened its doors. Now, that's interesting because I felt the same way. I remember making a video, it's actually my most popular video, about how Bitcoin futures could be manipulating the price. And I still believe that to this day, that there are forces, believe it or not, if you're new to this, $117 billion market cap is really big for most of us. But for some of us, probably aren't even seeing this video, but some people have way more money than you can even imagine, and they could make an amazing amount by shorting Bitcoin. The moment that Bitcoin futures came out, we've seen this constant dumping, and I could see though that the markets want to recover, but this cartel seems to be keen on keeping it down. And if you don't believe there is some kind of control or manipulation, then you're crazy. To be honest, I don't believe that. It's hard for me to take it seriously that you couldn't think that this isn't at least a possibility. So we can see here that yeah, it is a conspiracy, right? And it seems to be kind of crazy that I'm saying this, but I think the news cycle is really what caught on to me with this. As we can see here, when the CME started, we saw our first dumping, and then we see a price recovery. And then on January 30th, I remember this day so clearly, it was so sad. So the SEC halts one of the largest ICOs ever. U.S. regulators subpoena Bitfinex. That news, by the way, came out on January 30th, but it actually happened earlier than that. So this all came out at once. Facebook's going to ban Bitcoin. CFA, crypto are a threat to national security. Banks pull support for Cryptopia. All this happens in one go, right? And we see this really big dump occurred in 2 weeks time. Then we see a recovery yet again. Everything seems to be going well. I remember this too. I thought we were well on our way back up. All the indicators showed it. And then the manipulation occurred again. All of these negative news cycle or news events all concurred at the same time. What a coincidence. What a coincidence. Tokyo's Bitcoin whale sold 400 million. Just the start. Remember, that's for Mt. Gox, which we're supposed to find out by September what's going to happen then, or how much more he can sell off. So this is still going to be a problem until this is all gone. It's a lot of money. So Feds crack down, sends Bitcoin tumbling. You could read it all here. A lot of problems. Binance hack that actually didn't even go through. The CEO was able to stop it, yet it still was posted and caused quite a stir. So there you go. The news cycles are all happening at once. That is something that TA, technical analysis, cannot predict, right? There's just no way you can predict that kind of outcome. And that's what's scary about this. The news has such a powerful, influential effect. So we see also, this is very interesting. There were 6 days of daily dumps after March 7th, starting at exactly 11:30 Eastern Time. That's wild. And we can see it here with these graphs. So March 7th, we see, I'm not exactly sure what the price was, but we see about a 10% dip, no, more like 15%. And then we see another about 10%. And we see another about 10%. Each time, it could very well be people are capitulating out of the markets. There's no doubt that's on the table. But these kind of dumpenings are very, very powerful. Because usually when we see corrections, besides these dumps, they look very natural. Looks like it makes sense that it's happening. But these big dumps are really what's kind of disturbing about it. So, interesting. And this guy keeps updating this article. So, we're getting some more information about March 30th. As we can see here, more dumps. More big dumps, I should say. 15-minute high volume big dump. See the market tries to recover, another dump. Market tries to recover, another dump. Boom, another dump. See a great big old recovery, another dump. So it's hard to really determine, to me, based on that, if whether people are just trying to play the market and sell once it goes up or down. It's hard to say. So, like he says, does it look like a seller who wants higher price or lower price for Bitcoin? Seems like if someone is orchestrating this, they want a very low price for Bitcoin to get back into it. And we can also see on March 30th at around 5 to 6:30 Hong Kong time that a number of users performed unusual transactions to manipulate the price of Bitcoin quarterly futures contracts, making it deviate greatly from the Bitcoin index. Based on our team's investigation, the user closed a huge amount of positions at market price without considering the cost, causing it to drop at an unusually low level. Any doubts of Bitcoin being manipulated down without considering the cost? Okay. So, I don't want to read into all of this, but you get the idea. Cartel theory is an organization or collection of independent people, countries that act together as if they were a single producer and are able to fix prices for the goods they produce. So, as he also says, cartel is not active in all markets, but pretty much any market that has to do with any kind of asset or a value that could be replaceable to the dollar, like gold, silver, Bitcoin. I don't know about oil, maybe oil as well. Bitcoin was added to the list 2 months back. There's some pretty interesting charts here. This is the most nerve-wracking image here about how the futures markets pretty much ruins all of these markets. Uranium, for example. Uranium futures started May 2007, and it always seems to happen at a time when it's doing its best, right? Uranium monthly price, it was at an all-time high. At that moment, we see this happen, and it just completely descends. In fact, if you're in a futures market, you actually probably, just based on this evidence, I would short every time, knowing that this is what's happening constantly when a futures contract is added with something that is worth a tangible asset. Gold futures as well. It's definitely not as dramatic, but nonetheless, we do see yet again at an all-time high, and it comes down again. Also, the economy is doing, I guess depending on who you ask, economy feels like it's doing a little bit better. We're not in a financial crisis right now. Maybe on the border of one, not sure, but I think silver is a better indicator. Silver also really descended once the futures contracts came out. Same thing with Bitcoin. We're looking at the same thing again. We see Bitcoin at an unbelievably high price, and then when we see the futures market come out, here we are, struggling for breathing air. Now, let's see. Now, this guy believes that this isn't the end, and he could be right. Hopefully he's not, but if he is right, well, you might want to prepare for this. Now, his recommendation actually is to, let's find it. Recognize the threat, understand the strength of the enemy, play the cartel's cards, protect your capital now, buy Bitcoin damn cheap later. I think he's right about that. It's very smart to wait. This is something that every trader that knows anything about trading would tell you, is wait for the market to come to you, right? In this chart, we see about 2 to 3 months worth of activities, right? And there are 4 scenarios he lays out to buy Bitcoin. Now, if you had known, it's hard to you don't have a crystal ball, and it's really hard to detect when you see something crashing so violently. It's really hard to find the bottom. But once it appears that there's no hope, that's usually the best time to buy. So buy the effing dip here, buy it here, buy it. This one isn't dramatic, but these dramatic dips, like these really big ones, those are the best times to buy, in his opinion. And really what he's saying is if you're really smart, you'd wait until there's a point where Bitcoin is despised by people because they've lost so much money, complete despair. Then is the time, because that's when the cartel will be buying it from his from his analysis. As you can see as well, Leo Malamed made this comment. Who is that guy? CME Groups. Okay, part of CME. We will tame Bitcoin. I guess that means we will crash the price. And so he doesn't believe Bitcoin will go to 1K. 1K is a hypothetical number of when people lose faith, completely and utterly lose faith. We've seen it happen plenty of times in the past. We've seen Bitcoin rise and fall dramatically, and this is nothing new. What we're seeing right now is unfortunate, and it could very well just be Bitcoin being Bitcoin. But the future contracts really is a really upsetting thing that happened, I think. We thought it was supposed to mean something good, really what it seems like is it's really stagnating. The price, it got people into the market that screw with the markets, right? So that's a problem. Um, However, there are some positives here. First off, we are bigger in numbers than we were before. Before in 2017, crypto was not nearly as popular as it is now, even though the markets are in decline or sideways. We have to consider that we are stronger in numbers now than we were before, and even people that might have lost some money, we still know the potential that these coins have, and we know that it is possible to make a fortune if we time it right. So his recommendation, which is a good one, is to just wait it out, wait for the right opportunity. You're not going to make Lambo money right now. It's just not going to happen. I mean, a few months ago, absolutely you would have had the opportunity. And I wish I made the money I made then now. And then I would have been a millionaire. Literally, I would have been a millionaire. But you got to wait. You got to wait it out. It might take a few months, it might take a few years. But either way, the people who are the most patient will win this game. It's not for us to decide. It's for these big people, whoever they are. You know, and you got to consider also John McAfee. It's weird to say this, but he did say Bitcoin would hit 1 million by 2020, right? And even though this has happened, you got to think about who he knows too. The kind of people that have been with him, or the kind of people he associates himself with, because he is rich and he knows people that are rich. Probably a lot of people that are in this market, maybe some cartel members. It is very well possible. And for him to still stay on his, still believe in what he's saying, maybe there is some validity in that. And that would be pretty cool. For him to still be sticking with that statement is kind of crazy, but could very well be that he knows something we don't. And maybe we just have to wait for the bottom. Maybe the bottom isn't done. So that is essentially the whole Medium article. It has really gained traction, and I thought it was very important to share this with you guys because it's just very important. You should have a full perspective on what's going on. I don't care if you call this FUD. People love calling everything negative FUD. It's not negative. It's actually positive because it's helping you in the long run. And that's something that, if I want to be optimistic, that's not going to help you. We need to be realistic. We need to look at all angles of this thing because TA helps in certain instances, right? But it doesn't help all the time. In the long run, TA isn't going to really help us, I think. So this makes sense to me. This really does. Personally, I own a Bitcoin right now, just one. Just as a little play, just play money. And I'm waiting for it. If it crosses below 6,600, then mine will be sold, and I'm just going to wait for the next moment. Now, we also see Bitcoin dominance is rising because in a bear market, more people, I guess, have faith in Bitcoin than the other altcoins, so it might be a safer place to keep them. Keep your cryptocurrency. So, yeah, that's pretty much the name of the game. You got to pay attention for those big negative news cycles too. That's a huge one. He really hit the nail on the head there. I wanted to make a video about it, but I couldn't articulate exactly what I was feeling because I didn't know anything about cartel or anything like that. But I did feel like there was obvious manipulation when I saw, especially January 30th, when all this was coming out at once. It didn't make any sense, but now it kind of does. So if I don't consider this conspiracy theories. It is a theory. It actually is a conspiracy theory, technically. Now, according to whether you believe it or not, that's a different thing. But I'm going to keep this in mind, in the back burner, because our markets are thin, and it is easy to manipulate it. If big bankers can manipulate larger funds and larger investments, then they can absolutely do it with this at a much easier rate. And God knows we sell on the drop of, mildly bad news. It's easy for them to accomplish this, right? So keep that in mind, guys. Don't let it sway you. Don't be afraid of the markets. I understand we're in a weird time right now, but things will pick up soon. I promise you. In the long run, things will get a lot better. There will be a day when we will overcome all this crap, and the people that stuck around in the long run will be the happiest. So that's what it's all about, guys. I'm King Crypto. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like in my video, as well as a subscription, and ring the bell so you can get more of these notifications. I'll see you guys on the next one.